Minecraft version 1.18 released 1,470 days ago as of writing this. Since then, there has been a remarkable amount of progression and innovation for what is quite possibly the most underrated category in Minecraft speedrunning, and in this video I will tell you everything there is to know about the history of 1.18 plus mobile SSG. If you aren't aware of the way Minecraft Bedrock Edition speedrunning works, here's a quick rundown. The category in question is SSG, short for Set Seed Glitchless, meaning that speedrunners must use a specific seed which puts them closest to any materials essential for killing the Ender Dragon in the fastest time. Doing so requires a way to enter the Nether, usually by forging one with lava, then finding another fortress, a bastion to get Ender Pearls, re-entering the overworld to locate the stronghold, setting foot in the end, and finally killing the Ender Dragon, often done by bed bombing it. Over the course of several years, these speedrunners would consistently work to develop new strategies and techniques to see the exit portal open as fast as possible, and it all starts in the autumn of 2021. Originally, after the old SSG seed for 1.16 and 1.17 became unplayable with the new update, people did not think anybody would bother playing SSG on the latest version, 1.18. However, there was one person who was up to the challenge. On December 1st, 2021, a runner named Chronicle loads into a seed found by a guy named Cracked Magnet. He spawns in a mega taiga biome and quickly maneuvers his way to a nearby village, which contains a lot of useful loot, including 9 wooden logs and 9 iron ingots, enough to craft all the tools Chronicle will need for the run, as well as granting him the luxury of not needing to chop wood by hand. After dropping into a cave, the stronghold can be seen, a massive time save over finding one after exiting the Nether. You may be asking though, why is there a stronghold practically next to spawn? The reason for this is two main reasons. Firstly, on Bedrock Edition, strongholds can spawn much closer than they can on Java Edition, 512 blocks as opposed to 1,280. Secondly, another quirk of Bedrock Edition is that you can only spawn in a few biomes, that being plains, forest, jungle, and taiga. If the original spawn point lies in another biome, like a desert, the game will keep increasing the X-coordinate by 4 until the player is in a spawnable biome. Sometimes this can be thousands of blocks away, and in this case it is indeed roughly 1,000 blocks from spawn, which is right around the sweet spot for strongholds to generate. Back to the speedrun now. Once inside the stronghold, Chronicle loots a chest containing more food, which can be very useful in case a mistake is made. After this, he sprints to the nearby portal room and begins using the lava from it to build another portal, a common strategy in Bedrock speedruns. Unfortunately, a lot of time is lost here due to ghost buckets, a bug that plagued most Bedrock speedruns at one point or another until very recently. Chronicle enters the Nether just over 2.5 minutes into the speedrun, a good pace for the time. He makes his way to the Bastion about 100 blocks away from his Nether spawn, using some Nether wood to bridge to the Bastion. Most Bastion routes you may have seen don't work well on Bedrock Edition, especially after Piglin Brutes were added in 1.16.100, so Chronicle opts to aggro the nearby Piglins and drop gold off of the Chalice instead. Another oddity of Bedrock Edition is that if you mine a gold block next to a Piglin in progress of trading, it will instantly finish trading and pick up the next piece of block. That's why this is such a common method to do. Chronicle uses this to his advantage and gets all the pearls he needs in just 90 seconds after entering the Bastion. Unfortunately, instead of leaving right away, Chronicle attempts to get more pearls for convenience, but is forced to leave on just 10 after another 90 seconds of bad luck. In contrast, the nearby Nether fortress goes smoothly as he has lots of fire resistance potions, meaning he doesn't need to worry about blazes attacking him. Chronicle gets average luck and can start heading back to his Nether portal under 8 minutes into the speedrun. It appears Chronicle will be able to re-enter the overworld in under 10 minutes. Oops. In a move that costs Chronicle over a minute of time, he flubs the bridge and needs to build all the way back up from the lava level. Eventually though, Chronicle makes it back to his portal with everything and prepares to enter the end. The end is not very easy to route as it spawns him in a box submerged into the ground, and once he makes it out, Chronicle is met with this end island. Not very ideal. After some slow bridging, he arrives at the fountain in the middle of the island at the same time the dragon perches. Chronicle builds his bed placing area, then shoots the dragon in the neck with a bow. For whatever reason, this removes the dragon's armor, quadrupling any damage dealt to it. Finally, Chronicle builds a tower to place lava off of, slowing down the dragon's unperching motion. And finally, Chronicle just finished the first ever mobile SSG speedrun on 1.18. The final time, 12 minutes and 24 seconds. With the 90 unnecessary seconds Chronicle spent at the Bastion, and the minute and 15 seconds he lost to messing up the bridge combined with some more improvements to luck and routing, a potential time save around 4 minutes could be feasible using the Mega Taiga Seed. A sub 10 was clearly doable, and a sub 8 could be possible with enough luck and skill. However, the next world record would blow these expectations wide open as a new seed had been discovered, and it was much faster than This is where the most mechanically skilled mobile runner of all time, Shuken, makes his debut in this category. By this point, he had already obtained several SSG world records in 1.17, as well as Perfect RNG SSG and Perfect Seed Glitchless. Shuken loads into a taiga biome, and masterfully weaves through the trees to make it to a slightly closer village compared to the last seed. He gets a pumpkin pie from the first chest, which is why this seed is called Pumpkin Pie Seed. Shuken saves a good amount of time by overlapping crafting tools with having already aggroed the iron golem, and after killing it he crafts a bucket. Wooden tools are fine for now, he'll be able to upgrade to an iron pickaxe later. After swimming through water caves to reach the portal room, it is revealed to have 4 eyes already in it. This is huge because it means only 8 pearls and 4 rods are required, which is both a major time save and means less runs will die due to bad luck at the Bastion. Once he enters the Nether, Shuken is immediately greeted with a Fashion, and would like to begin getting pearls at the Bastion first, but before this, he needs an iron pickaxe to mine the gold. So Shuken is forced to go down to this chest to get 5 iron, enough for a sword and a pickaxe. After building back up, he kills a stray blaze, granting him 1 of the 4 rods he will need, then begins mining the gold and bartering. He has to deal with an annoyingly high amount of piglin brutes, which do not barter. Then deals with an annoyingly low number of regular piglin to trade with. With decent luck on pearl trades, this results in Shuken spending a slightly longer than ideal 2 minutes at the Bastion. Luckily, the blaze spawner is pretty much right there, and with fire resistance, it's a breeze to get the remaining 3 rods. He does have a small hiccup by having to deal with stray piglins, but this is balanced out by the above average blaze luck he gets. In total, Shuken only spends about 45 seconds killing blazes. Shuken then makes a small bridge across this lava, which turns out to be completely unnecessary since the portal is just above it. This loses him about 8 seconds of time. After exiting the Nether, he prepares for the end fight, crafts his eyes, and enters the end. Once he successfully pearls to the inner part of the island, all Shuken can do now is hope the dragon decides to cooperate. While waiting, he crafts a bow for an easier crit bug, and then the dragon perches right in time. Shuken performs the usual technique, and finishes the run with a time of 7:24.917. This time actually puts Shuken very close to the 1.18 SSG world record across all platforms, which stands at a 7:08.233 by Swaggy Cat. On December 8th, Chronicle obtains a new personal best. He uses the same route as Shuken, but played slightly worse overall. Chronicle gets less lucky in the Nether, and plays the fortress very safe. After getting 4 rods, he returns to the piglins and sees 9 ender pearls, the bare minimum needed to finish the run in a hasteful manner. Chronicle returns to his portal, enters the end, pearls to the island, and needs to wait about 20 seconds for the dragon to perch. This time, he performs a slightly different one cycle, utilizing the third-person back setting to place beds without needing obsidian, scoring him a personal best and second place time of 8:19. This run was achieved just a few hours before another mobile runner, Cube Flipper, gets his first PB in the category. Cube Flipper takes a new route, utilizing the ice on the coast to move faster and getting iron from this toolsmith chest instead of killing the iron golem. Aside from that, the route remains the same until Cube enters the portal room, where instead of immediately entering the nether after forging the obsidian, he goes off to get an iron sword and pickaxe and 2 altar chests, thus removing the need to collect the iron from a chest in the fortress. Cube decides to go for the blaze spawner first, as it's on the way to the bastion. Unfortunately for him, he gets bombarded by magma cubes and is forced to go to the bastion with just 1 rod. The trading process is relatively slow, but he does get the Amazon Prime Blaze delivery, granting Cube another rod. He gets solid luck for the rest of the run, obtaining 12 pearls and going 2 for 3 on the rest of his blazes. He enters the end slightly faster and gets a perch slightly faster than Chronicle. And after doing the regular 1 cycle, Cube Flipper achieves a 2nd place time of 7:58. Shukin, seeing more mobile runners begin to catch up to his time, decides to go for an even faster time, and it's not long until he manages to get on insane pace. On December 10th, he starts a run by executing the route Cube Flipper used near flawlessly, achieving the first ever sub-2 nether enter in a full run. Right after getting into the nether, Shukin throws a pearl right next to the blaze spawner, which immediately spawns 3 blazes. Of them, 2 drop a rod. Shukin then makes the decision to start bartering with piglins, potentially overlapping with killing stray blazes, similarly to Cube Flipper in his last run. This is already very lucky and great pace, and it's compounded further by good piglin luck garnering him 10 pearls in just over a minute. After exiting the bastion, Shukin builds a wall to make the blaze spawner great again, and frankly, this pays off tremendously, as he gets another 2 for 3 on blazes and is able to leave the nether on the fastest pace ever seen by man. Without missing a beat, he evades the wither skeleton and books it back to the portal, enters the end, pearls to the fountain, and readies himself for the dragon to perch. In another stroke of luck, the dragon perches just as Shukin is ready to face it. And as a result, Shukin doesn't just get a sub-7, he smashes the world record and obtains the first ever sub-6, a 5:55. On top of this, it turns out to just barely be the overall 1.18 SSG world record if the load times are removed, beating Bowler Guy by about 5 seconds. Those of you with a keen eye might have noticed something. Shukin was not very happy with this run. In fact, he calls it bad. And if you go into the description of this video, then you'll see him utter the phrase, "Sub-5 is possible." Despite how daunting the task it may seem, there will always be people dedicated enough to go for it. But just how possible was this task? Let's break it down. In Shukin's 5:56, the overworld is played nearly to perfection, with perhaps about 10 seconds of possible time save, mostly in the stronghold. It's theoretically possible to get all 4 rods from the first blaze spawn cycle, but the odds of this happening are less than 1%. And since Shukin's first blaze split is pretty much the best you can realistically ask for, that's what we'll go with. As for the Bastion, if Shukin got less brutes and had 10 pearls instead of 7 on his first collection of his trades, it would have likely saved him around 30 seconds. If he got another 2 rods on a second bout at the blaze spawner, it could have saved another 25 seconds. Finally, being faster in the end could have saved another 10 seconds. In total, a time of 4:40 is definitely possible with better luck and mechanics. It is pretty clear that 5 minutes will be the final barrier of 1.18 plus mobile SSG. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Chronicle, had been grinding behind the scenes. On December 11th, he acquired a new PB of 649, followed by a 620 on December 13th. Chronicle was now quite close to the world record, definitely within striking distance, which is why, the very next day, he got this run, and it was the first to finally put the sub-5 theory to the test. Chronicle performs the same overworld route as Shukin, entering the nether just under 2 minutes. After pearling to the blaze spawner, 3 blazes spawn, and 3 blazes drop. This stroke of luck is the first sign of a record pace run, but the main source of bad luck is still looming over Chronicle's arrival. He then performs Shuken's slightly risky route to attract more piglins, and with one of the fastest paces ever. He drops down to see his loot just 40 seconds after starting to trade, and sees 11 Ender Pearls, easily enough to leave. Chronicle has the choice to either get a blaze spawn cycle at the spawner, or travel further to kill these 2 stray blazes. He chooses the latter, and does not get a single rod. Chronicle is forced to find more, and does get a rod from the next 2 down a different hallway, and now Chronicle's ready to leave the Nether on potential sub-5 pace, but just barely. He needs to perform the rest of the run perfectly to achieve it. But can he, is the question. By only a few seconds. This run is not a sub-5, clocking in at 515.567, while his heart rate clocks in at 157. The consolation prize is that this is still the mobile and overall world record. If Chronicle had gone for the ultra-fast Delt cycle when the dragon perched, he could have still gotten a 459, but alas, he decides to play it safe and secure a still quite impressive world record. Not much happens over the next few days, until December 19th comes. A couple more runners get their first PB, that being Mirio Ta getting an 1146.4, while Air to Lander 1227 gets a 713.317, which actually places him in 3rd, but by quite a long shot. The very next day, the race to sub-5 between Shuken and Chronicle would finally come to a close. The runner loads into the seed and does the usual route, but this time it's a bit different. Instead of entering the end portal room via the nearby water cave, he opts to take a different approach by collecting some snowballs and digging down next to a tree. Those may come in handy later. The runner arrives in the stronghold a few seconds faster than the previous world record, and even with a scuffed woodlight is able to enter the Nether in the fastest time we've seen yet. Instead of purling to the blaze spawner near the bastion, the runner digs into one buried beneath the nether portal. Once all the blazes are killed, only then does he purl to the other blaze spawner. Since he activates instant blaze spawns on both spawners, this gives him a much higher chance of acquiring 4 rods from the first bout at the fortress. Instead of 1 in several hundred, the odds are just about 1 in 25. And as it just so happens, the runner gets that 1 in 25 chance, and proceeds to enter the bastion just 2.5 minutes into the run, the fastest bastion enter we've ever seen at this point. Luckily, he gets 7 piglins trading for him, usually more than enough, and is able to easily deal with the 2 piglin brutes. The runner checks his trades just over 3 minutes in, and finds exactly what he's looking for. Now, on certified incredible pace, he exits the Nether and prepares for the most important Ender Dragon fight in the history of Minecraft speedrunning. Because of nerfs, the runner faces a 4-second time loss upon exiting the Nether due to misplacing many of the eyes. Having entered the inn just a minute from the elusive sub-5 goal, he needs a fast perch, which is something that is much less common than this video would have you believe so far. Once on the island, he crafts his beds, preparing for the RNG to screw him over. But once the crafting menu ceases, it can be seen clearly. The dragon has blessed him with a fast perch. Now all that's left standing in the way between the runner and the sub-5 is the 1 cycle. In one of the most intense moments in speedrunning history, the dragon goes down, and the first ever sub-5, a 449, is claimed by none other than Shuken. Okay. Even still, despite the insane skill and insane luck that went into the run, it was clear that a sub-430 would be possible. In the overworld alone, Shuken lost around 15 seconds, 5 on the surface and 10 in the stronghold. In the Nether, about 10 seconds can be saved with cleaner blaze kills, and another 10 can be saved with luckier trades. Another 15 can potentially be saved by taking a risky pearl towards the portal back to the overworld. 5 more can be saved on the way to the end, and another 15 can be saved from the Ender Dragon actually perching a little bit slower, but allowing a dealt cycle to take place. All in all, a time as low as 339 could eventually become a reality. But the amount of luck and skill that would need to go into that is probably too much for the 3 runners playing this category. And that is it for part 1 of the 1.18 mobile SSG history. Special thanks to CubeFlipper for providing a lot of insight as to how things were during this time, and special thanks to Omar XD for moral support. Stay tuned for Chapter 2, The Final Minute Barrier, releasing August 1st, 2026.